sponsor of your Golden State Warriors.
United is proud to be the official airline of the Golden State Warriors, but this story goes beyond basketball. It's about United and the Warriors teaming up and showing up for Bay Area communities of color. Through the franchise fund, we're helping minority-owned businesses, from manufacturers to a local cosmetics brand, get the funds and resources they need to thrive. Because when good ideas find their champion, we all win. This is the story of an airline and a community. When good leads the way.
Hey, Stephen Curry, it's game day, and you know what that means.
That you're going to talk like an announcer all day long?
Yes, and fans get 10% cash back in arena or online at Warriors Shop by using Rakuten.
That is pretty exciting.
Cash back on Warriors gear is exciting, Stephen Curry.
I think they know it's me.
Good point. We just need to tell them the website.
Rakuten.com/Warriors. RAKUTEN.com/Warriors.
Everyone circle up. I know it looks rough out there. Sure, we're down 119-64, but we came here to play differently. We need a game changer. Something like Ring Central, the business phone system that's more than a phone. I want you to communicate like you can talk to anyone, anywhere, all from the same app. Now get out there and play like you're using Ring Central.
Ring Central. Simpler communications.
You've been listening to the Golden State Warriors Audio Network.
Presented by United Airlines.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey Sports. For even more coverage of your team, download the free Odyssey app and listen to your favorite stations, shows, and podcasts.
That's a wrap.
Yo, that's a wrap. It was an amazing experience. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Hope they got some laughs, some good entertainment.
This is Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
Draymond up the floor, dribbles it, waits. Handoff Thompson, takes a three on the way. No good. Looney with a tip. No good. Tipped up. It's good! At the buzzer! Kevon Looney! Kevon Looney tipped it in. A scramble at the rim. The Warriors celebrate, jumping up and down, mobbing number 5 at midcourt. What a way to bring in the new year!
Yeah, what a way indeed. Tim Roy on the call there as the Warriors win a wild one tonight inside Chase Center, 143-141 in double overtime. We welcome you inside Warriors Wrap-Up here on 95.7 The Game. John Dickinson with you. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. That is the phone number to give me a call or shoot me a text as the Warriors, after blowing a 21-point lead, allowed themselves to force overtime on a Dante DiVincenzo 3. They go 11-11 in overtime number 1, and looking like we were headed to potentially a third overtime. Kevon Looney with his 21st rebound of the night and his 11th offensive rebound of the night sends the Warriors home a winner with the putback at the horn. 14 points for Looney. And again, the Warriors get the job done, 143-101. A lot of heroes tonight. If you want to give me your hero of the game tonight, you can do so at 888-957-9570. Got to start with Klay Thompson after Kevon Looney with the game winner. What a night for Klay Thompson. 54 points, knocks down 10 three-pointers, and just had every answer. Another hot start for Klay, another hot start for the Warriors, similar to the ball game in this building on Friday night where Klay Thompson was able to pour in 15 first-quarter points. He had 16 tonight in the first quarter after 15 on Friday, 4 of 6 from 3. The Warriors equaled their 7 of 14 from three-point range in the game against Portland tonight in the first quarter. It was looking good, 38-26 after 1. Warriors would push the lead up to 21 before the Hawks would close the gap a little bit going into the halftime, but the Warriors still had a 70-53 lead at the halftime, and that's when this thing flipped. Third quarter, Hawks got it all back, a couple of turnovers for the Warriors. They go cold, and Atlanta just no defense for the Dubs in that third quarter. 42-25 Hawks to send it to the fourth quarter tied, and it looked like this was really, for a second consecutive game, going to be one that the Warriors let get away down the stretch, but the Warriors refused to let it get away down the stretch. After leading by 21, they found themselves trailing in the fourth, 115-106. The Warriors chipping away. Jordan Poole getting to the free throw line. Klay Thompson hitting one of many critical three-pointers. Kevon Looney hit a couple of free throws, and the Warriors then looked like was going to be a problematic end to this one. They got 3 chances at the rim at 117-113, missed them all with just under 3 minutes to go, and then more chances after a stop. Jordan Poole taking a shot, Kevon Looney, another stop there. Draymond Green fouled Klay Thompson on a drive to put the Warriors in a spot where they were down by 4. Then Klay Thompson with another critical 3. A couple of no calls both ways at the end of regulation. Trae Young thought he got fouled, and then Jordan Poole lost the ball out of bounds. The Warriors were forced to foul, and sometimes you got to get a little bit lucky, but I think the Warriors are in a position lately where they've been making their own breaks, and after a Klay Thompson miss, Jordan Poole, offensive rebound, gets blocked on a 3, but the block goes right to Dante DiVincenzo, who steps into the game-tying three-pointer, and the Warriors find themselves all knotted up going into overtime at 121-121. Really big story in the game for the Dubs. 23 offensive rebounds. Second chances, able to help the Warriors hang in this game in every critical juncture that it looked like the Hawks were going to be able to close them out after the big comeback. And it was just another one of these nights where the Warriors just hustled their way and ground their way to a big win with a lot of different heroes. So 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. John Dickinson here on Warriors Wrap Up 95.7 The Game. It's the 5th consecutive win for the Warriors. They are now 17-2 at home on the season, and they are 20-18 overall. So they came home off the bad road trip, 15-18 without Steph Curry, without Andrew Wiggins, who still has yet to make his return. And they've now won 5 consecutive games, beating Memphis, beating Charlotte, beating Utah, Portland, and now Atlanta here to begin the 2023 portion of the schedule. And just a hell of a win. I mean, just a hell of a win. And a hell of a performance from another rested Klay Thompson, having a couple of days off. The Warriors didn't do anything over the weekend, and Klay came out knowing that his team needed him to be carried, and Klay found it. You know, we've talked about the fact that Klay can't always call it up necessarily when he wants to, but the one thing nobody would deny is that Klay Thompson still has the ability here and there to put up vintage Klay Thompson performances, and that's what the Warriors got tonight, a vintage Klay Thompson throwback performance, along the lines of Game 6 Klay or playoff Klay, and it came just when the Warriors truly needed it, and they walk out of Chase Center tonight with their 5th consecutive win at 143-141. A couple of nights after Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole combining for 73, tonight they go for 82. And look, I know Jordan Poole is, a lot of Warrior fans are frustrated with the turnovers. There was some pensive groans as Poole would make his drives at points down the stretch and in the overtime periods, because it almost felt as if a turnover was coming in different instances. But the one thing the Warriors absolutely need right now is point production. And nothing's going to be perfect. And when you're handling the ball as much as Jordan Poole is in that Steph Curry role as the primary, sometimes turnovers are part of the deal. And I get it. Sometimes Poole's trying to do too much. Sometimes he's a little careless with the dribble. Sometimes it's looking to make a bad pass. But the reality of the situation is, for the Warriors and for Jordan Poole, they need his points right now, flat out. And if he doesn't pour in 28, we're talking about a loss here tonight and maybe a missed opportunity for the Warriors to continue to separate themselves from 500. So while it was far from a perfect outing for Jordan Poole, they really needed the production that they got from him, and I think you have to still give Jordan Poole the credit for stepping up and playing 45 minutes and just continuing to battle. Nothing's easy. And nothing was going to be easy for the Warriors on this homestand. We talked about it from the very beginning. So 888-957-9570. Let's get it rolling on the phone lines. We've got some people that want to talk. Let's start with Galileo in Fremont. What's up, Galileo? You're on 95.7 The Game.
Thank you so much for taking my call. Just driving back from the game. I really like how we were able to pressure Trae Young and limit him and limit Bogdanović in the first half from going off. And Draymond was doing a tough job on their bigs. They went with a two-big lineup, forcing us to go with Looney and Draymond. And Clay had a vintage game, like you said, hitting tough shots. But he looked pretty poised out there. You don't want a steady diet of him shooting off the dribble threes, but tonight he had it locked in. Great game, gritty win. Now we know these guys can get gritty. Thanks so much.
I think that's the theme of the homestand to this point, is the fact that the Warriors, well, yes, in 3 of these 5 games, they've hit a bunch of threes, 19 tonight in what was a franchise record, 59 attempts. But there was 18 against Memphis. They hit, I think, 17 the other night against Portland. So they are making threes in some of these games. But to me, it's been all about the dirty work. It's been all about, while not perfect, key defensive stops and continuing to battle through mistakes and just fighting and scrapping and clawing. And I've given Draymond Green and Klay Thompson a lot of credit for setting a tone to which others have followed. And, yeah, the Hawks tried to go big. They've got some length. They've got some size. The Warriors were using a little bit of Anthony Lamb tonight, who I think is an unsung hero with 15 points on 6 of 11. A couple of bad turnovers, but he also had a couple of key offensive rebounds as well, and knocked down 6 shots on a night where the Warriors only had 9 without Jonathan Kuminga, and JaMychal Green still not back, and Wiggins hasn't quite returned yet. So the Warriors able to get a big-time performance from the guys that they had. And when you only got 10 and one of them's Ryan Rollins, there are going to be opportunities for young players and some of the two-way guys to step up, and you just have to play who you have, and I think that's what Steve Kerr was able to do. Barry in Santa Rosa next here on Warriors Wrap-Up at 888-957-9570. What's going on tonight, Barry?
Hey, been listening to the games, and they all sound great. I had a couple of points to make, actually 3 if I can make them quick. One is this team, the way they've started coming together and winning some of these close games here, reminds me of the original Warriors team when they kind of started off on their dynasty. I just listen on the radio, but when those guys just started, Curry and Green and Clay, they were just kind of scrounging around, and it was really hard. They were digging around. They would win some clutch games. They had some really good chemistry. It was gritty back then. They were winning the close ones. It kind of sounds like that's what's happening now. We still have a lot of the old veterans here, obviously, but I mean, we are putting in some of the newcomers, and they're starting to come around. And it sounds like a lot in, was it 2013, 14? I can't even remember.
Yeah, going all the way back. It's been 10 years, that 2012-2013 season, Barry, and thanks for the call. When not that the dynasty started, but you could make the case the dynasty started. That was the first playoff year for Steph and Clay and Draymond together. No championship those first couple of years under Mark Jackson, but that changed in the third year that the 3 of them were all together. But yeah, they are finding, I think, some guys that can be pieces once they're whole on a more limited role, because they've been forced to play a few of these players more minutes because they are shorthanded at the moment. And look, not everybody that's playing now is going to play later, but the Warriors, by necessity, I think, have developed somewhat of a grinded out type of identity here. And it's really benefited them. I mean, they're 6-3 now in the last 9 during this stretch without Steph Curry, and Andrew Wiggins has been out for all of it. So they've gone from a team that, in essence, can't beat anybody without Steph, which is where they were at the point in which he was injured, going back to the middle of December in Indiana, to a team that, at least at home, can beat anybody, even shorthanded. And again, it's not just Steph. It's without Wiggins. It's been without Klay Thompson in a couple of these games because of the back-to-back and him not playing there. So Clay's missed one of them, and the Warriors have been able to just get enough with what they have on a particular night to win it. And I think tonight you just go all around the roster from Clay's 54 to Jordan Poole's 28, although not a perfect 28 with the turnovers and some poor play and some significant stretches there. You get 17 from Anthony Lamb. You get 14 from Kevon Looney. You get 23 offensive rebounds. You get Looney on his 21st offensive rebound. He gets the putback after missing the initial tip when Clay takes the three. And they're just finding ways to win, which is different from the beginning of the season on the road when they were pretty close to fully healthy and were, frankly, finding ways to lose down the stretch in games. And I think there is somewhat of an evening out factor as far as the clutch type games and situations for teams. The Hawks have won, I think, 2 or 3 buzzer beaters themselves this year. So going the other way, you look at the Hawks. The Hawks maybe had one coming on the negative side to them. The Warriors had one coming on the positive side to them, given the way some of these other losses have fallen at different points in the season. So 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570 as the Warriors get the win 143-141, and you heard it right here at 95.7. The game now 17-2 at home. Big first quarter, bad close to the second. They got hit in the third to make it a tie game going to the fourth, but after being down 9 in the fourth, the Warriors able to rally to force overtime on the Dante DiVincenzo 3, and then hang tough in the overtime, get it to a second overtime, and it looked destined to be a third overtime, but Kevon Looney says, first walk-off basket for Kevon Looney with no time left on the clock. Of course, you remember Kevon Looney did have a game winner for the Warriors last year in Indiana. Similar kind of deal where Looney gets a layup in the closing seconds there. Still a little bit of time left on the clock, but Kevon Looney, Johnny on the spot with the game tied and the clock winding down. Let's go to Tony in Alameda next here on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Tony, you're on Warriors Wrap-Up.
Hey, good evening. Thank you for taking my call.
You got it, man.
Hello?
Yep, I got you loud and clear, Tony. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's on my mind here? I'm trying to compare what's more important tonight. The DiVincenzo's tying game, 3 or Looney's tipping 2 times to win the game. And also, when Wiggins and Curry come back, how the heck are they going to shake this lineup now? Are we going to have the miracle come back with the third, fourth quarter again, the way we're going right now? Also, the coaching of Steve Kerr is pretty damn good. Also, the final one, Looney, I know he had the tip in there twice, but his surrounding is only like 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". The first tip in should have been in already. I mean, he did good there. He got 21 rebounds, but he's got to be more. His hands got to be just slam that ball in there. Okay? Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, appreciate it. 888-957-9570. John Dickinson here on Warriors Wrap-Up at 95.7 The Game. As far as which one is more important, well, you don't win the game without either one of them, first and foremost. You don't win the game without either one of them right there. As far as what's going to happen when players come back, I think it's pretty simple. I mean, it's a matter of Wiggins is going to come back. He's going to go in the starting lineup. Dante DiVincenzo is going to go back to the bench. Steph comes back. Poole goes back to the bench. And I think the 7 that are going to play. It's going to be Steph and Clay. It's going to be Wiggins. It's going to be Draymond and Looney. That's your starting 5. And still a lineup that's been among the best, if not the best, 5-man group in the NBA. So there's your starters. Jordan Poole's going to play. DiVincenzo's going to play. I'll be interested to see what happens with Jonathan Kuminga, because Kuminga was in a walking boot after the note. The Warriors called it a foot sprain. I guess his foot swelled up after the game against Portland over the weekend. And so he's in a boot. Sounds like he's going to be out at least for a couple of games. And going to be reevaluated here in the next few days. I think Kuminga was working his way into being the 8th guy and somebody that was going to play every single night. I think still Anthony Lamb probably gets some of those minutes. We'll see if Ty Jerome potentially gets some of those minutes because DiVincenzo's been able to be out there in some 3-guard lineups and guard up in terms of defending. So if DiVincenzo can put pressure on the ball like a guard, but also rebound like a forward, that gives the Warriors a little bit more versatility with some of the different lineup combinations that they want to be able to play. So I think it's going to shake out. You can't keep rolling the way the Warriors have, this shorthanded over a long haul and win enough games. But the good news is the reinforcements are coming here at some point, hopefully with Andrew Wiggins by Saturday. And then that's also the day that Steph Curry's set to be reevaluated. So we'll get a better look at what his timeline is going to be after finally getting on the court and starting to do some work here over the course of the last week. All right, let's get to Mike in San Francisco next here on Warriors Wrap-Up. What's going on tonight, Mike? Big win for the Warriors, and you heard it right here on 95.7 The Game.
Yeah, incredible what this team does at home. They probably should have lost a couple of these games here, and they just rally and find ways to win. Hawks really just gagged this game away multiple times. We should have won a regulation, then probably the first overtime. Then they had a chance to put away in the second overtime. The Warriors at home, I wish they would just take this mentality they have at home where they dig down deep and find ways to win out on the road. They'd be the best team in the league once again. And doing what they're doing right now without Curry and Wiggins just shows what this team is capable of. It's incredible to watch. And good to see Clay going off tonight and JP doing what he does. Draymond doing all the DPOY candidate, making all the little plays there. The bench, Lamb, DiVincenzo, big clutch shot there to send it to overtime. So I thought 6-2 realistic, but with the way this team's going and that they knocked off the hardest part of their portion here, I think 8-0 is more than realistic when you look at what they have upcoming here. Detroit's awful. They're one of the worst teams. They should roll them. And then they got Orlando, and Phoenix is struggling mightily without Booker. So I think that's more than realistic. What do you think about that? Because I really do think 8-0's on the table with the way they're going right now. It's just they're just incredible at Chase Center, man. They're the best home team in the league, and the disparity between them on the road at home, I feel like at home they can beat anybody. It's just in the road, complete opposite. I do think 8-0 is a major factor. What's your thoughts? Great win tonight, an incredible game. Thanks.
Yeah, no, incredible game. 8-0 is absolutely on the table now. I mean, once you get to 5-0, and look, you can't take any of these for granted. I think that's been another one of the themes that I was very quick to lay out at the beginning of this homestand. The Warriors were capable, to me, of winning all 8, but none of them were going to be easy, and I think we've seen exactly that. You know, the Warriors can play well in stretches and get out to leads, but you always know the team's coming back because the reality is this is not the championship team with a bunch of all-stars out there for a 48-minute stretch. So you're always going to allow teams back into games because the truth is this team, as it's currently constituted, while they're battling their ass off and they're doing the best they can to win games, it's just not going to be fluid. There aren't going to be blowouts against other good teams in particular. I would caution folks to be too cocky about the fact that it's just going to be easy even against Detroit and Orlando. Orlando has beaten Boston. They went up to Boston a couple weeks back and won back-to-back games there. The Warriors lost to both of these teams on the road, essentially fully healthy in the early part of the season. I think Klay Thompson missed the Detroit game. Dante DiVincenzo, I think, missed both of those games. But other than that, the Warriors had Steph, they had Wiggins, they had Draymond, and they lost to both of these teams. So I caution that, but it's absolutely on the table with the way that the Warriors have played to this point if they keep looking to grind it out to the extent that they have so far. And let me tell you, they get 3 more wins and can push this thing up to 23-18 at the halfway mark. Look out in the second half because that in and of itself may be good enough to be sitting right at 5th and within maybe even a game or 2 of 4th in the West. And if the Warriors get into the top 4, they've got as good a chance as anybody to go on and win an NBA championship again and defend their title. James in Berkeley, as we keep it rolling here on 95.7 The Game. What's going on tonight, James?
Hey, JD, thanks for taking my call.
You got it, brother.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that I think we take Clay for granted. Some of these shots he's hitting, they're just insane. His catch and shoot, it's absolutely unbelievable. I think he has gotten some slander this season. I think some of it was partly deserved, but the fact that he came back from his injuries and he's hitting these shots is completely unbelievable. And just, we take that for granted, and just to expect these shots, no one else hits these shots that Klay hit. So I think shout out to Klay for coming back so strong and just hitting these unbelievable shots. I don't take it for granted, and I think we should put some more respect on Klay's name, and I hope he keeps it up. Thank you.
Yeah, the effort level from Klay and the care level has been Hall of Fame. I mean, and I think if anything, at times it's made him get in his own way. Frankly, is the fact that he's trying to do too much with every single shot, and he's not going to be the same player every single night that he was, but he still can be that player on any night. And you don't necessarily know when it's coming. I think Klay tonight in these last two games, one thing to note, and something I'm going to do a little bit of research on moving forward here with the day off tomorrow and bring to the table throughout the course of this week is just Klay's numbers when he's been rested as opposed to when the games are coming every other day and when the games are coming, just in rapid fire. But it seems like he's played better games when he's been a little bit more rested. Couple of days off, not playing the second of the back-to-back. He's hot against Portland. He gets 2 days off before this one. Warriors didn't do anything as far as practice during the holiday weekend. He comes back out knowing that he needs to help carry the Warriors, and he's able to help carry the Warriors to another victory. But, yeah, the Hall of Fame effort and the leadership and the tone setting that I come back to from the guys that are healthy among the championship players, I mean, you just can't discount it. What Draymond has brought to the table in terms of energy, grit, determination, defense, physicality, emotion, all of that, just it cannot go unnoticed. And I think Klay, to a certain extent, as somebody that's been here for all the championships, he's set that tone with the way that he's carried himself. And I keep coming back to the fact that others have followed along the way. The role players garner confidence from the way those two dudes carry themselves, good or bad, because it's not always going to be good. You can make mistakes in games and make up for those mistakes by making winning plays, and I think that's something that Jordan Poole can relate to, and Anthony Lamb can relate to, and Kevon Looney can relate to, and Dante DiVincenzo can relate to as well. But for the Warriors to be able to overcome the 19 turnovers, for them to overcome the Hawks getting to the free throw line 29 times, and be able to just continue to scrap and scratch and claw and fight, I think it's a tremendous testament to the guys that have been here and won championships. And that starts with Draymond and Klay Thompson, with Andrew Wiggins and Steph Curry both still out. All right, let's welcome everybody to our 11 o'clock hour.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app.
Yeah, and we are live on Twitch and YouTube here tonight on 95.7 The Game. John Dickinson with you back inside Chase Center as the Warriors get the win over the Atlanta Hawks tonight, 143-141 in two overtimes. Kevon Looney with the game winner after Dante DiVincenzo forces overtime. Warriors getting a little bit lucky on a couple of misses. Klay Thompson with the miss at the end of regulation. Jordan Poole gets the rebound, runs it out to the three-point line, takes a three. Shot gets blocked, but the block goes right to Dante DiVincenzo, who steps right into a three and sends the game into overtime. Warriors survive some touchy moments in the overtime to get it to a second overtime, and then Kevon Looney sends everybody home happy with the putback off of the Klay miss and off the miss of his own tip for the Warriors to prevail in this one by 2. Let's go ahead and hear from the head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr, as he met with the media downstairs in the press conference room following this win.
Hey, Steve, what did you think about Kevon Looney's work on the boards tonight and that work leading to the game winner?
Yeah, I mean, he was Loon was fantastic. They've got some big guys in the paint who can go up and get lobs, and they kind of took over that third quarter with Okongwu and Collins and Trae Young coming downhill. So we were kind of going back and forth between Loon and Anthony Lamb, just deciding, do we want more spacing or more size? And both of them had great games. So it was really fun to watch them both perform at that level. And then to see Loon get rewarded with the game winner was fantastic.
Did the offense, I guess, middle of the fourth quarter on, sort of boil down to Clay go get something? And how fun is it after what he's been through, if that's what it was, that you could say that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we had 4 guys play 44 minutes or more. And so it just felt to me like in the 2 overtimes, but even down the stretch, fatigue was a factor, and we weren't generating many easy shots, and Clay just took over. So, we're going to him just with a high screen, getting him the ball, letting him go on a high screen and running off some pins, and he just made shot after shot, made play after play. He was incredible.
You guys spent a lot of the early season like losing some backbreakers late. I mean, the Utah one particularly comes to mind. Lately, that trend has flipped. How important is that?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of what we talked about early in the season, was that we're going to get some games back, and Mike Dunleavy turned to me after the game and said that's payback for the Utah game, in Salt Lake. Like you usually lose a game or two like that and win a game or two like that during the course of the season. And tonight was our night to pull one out. But I think there's a reason that things are going our way right now. We're playing tougher. We're hanging in there. In general, we're doing a better job not fouling. We had 2 reaches on Trae Young down the stretch. I think it was the end of the first overtime. Can't remember exactly the time frame, but allowed the game to keep going. I think if we don't reach there, we probably wrap up the game or make him make a tough shot. So the fouling kind of got to us in the second half. But for the most part, during this winning streak, we're playing smarter, we're playing tougher, we're sticking together.
Looney's rebounds at the end shine, but how about what Dante does on the boards? And you don't get into that situation without that when he corralled right at the end of regulation to make that big shot. I mean, is he just everything?
Dante has really shined during this stretch, with so many injuries. We've counted on him for big minutes, and he just continues to show why he's a winning player. He's I said it the other night, but the guy won 2 NCAA championships and an NBA title, and he competes every second of every game. He makes winning plays, and his rebound down the stretch, and then the 3 that he made to tie it, that was just Dante, doing what he does.
On that Clay step back in the first overtime, was that strictly Clay ISO? Did he create an ISO? You almost never seem to dribble that many times to get a shot. What was the call there, or was that just Clay improvising?
We were going to get Clay in a pick and roll, and they did a good job switching. And at that point, it just felt like everybody was pretty tired, and so everyone just kind of flattened out. And Clay, ended up taking the shot. He got a decent look, but at that point, when guys are just exhausted, you're just trying to outlast your opponent. And we didn't execute great down the stretch, but we hung in there, and that was the main thing.
Is there something about his shot? I know it always looks good, but it's going in now that you see? Is it just his feet are under him a little bit more?
I think it's more his emotion is under control. I think when he was struggling earlier in the season, I thought he was placing way too much importance on each shot, and he was searching for that shot constantly. I think he's been much more patient of late. And when he's patient, you'll know because he's hitting the roll man. He hit Loon and Draymond several times tonight. Then the ball comes back around to him. He just looks more relaxed, more at ease than he did earlier in the year.
Is there also a physical component to that, to him coming back, him getting more to be the old Clay? And also, you said at one point, I forget when it was, I'm going to ride with Clay. Is this the guy that you were talking about, basically?
He's done so much in his career, so you don't go away from him just because he has a bad stretch. Everybody has bad stretches. So I just think, he stayed with it. He's worked hard, on his conditioning and his strength, and he stayed with it. Like I said, from an emotional level, he's just stayed much more calm and patient, and that's paying off for him.
You guys had, a 17-point lead at the start of the third. You tied heading into the fourth quarter. Just kind of what happened there to then make this game much closer?
Yeah, I didn't like the way we closed the second quarter. The ball stopped moving. We got a little stagnant. And then we came out third quarter. First possession was a turnover, and they got downhill and got a couple lob dunks, and you could feel the game shifting. I think, this was their first game of the trip. I think they had some cobwebs they had to shake out in the first half. They looked heavy-legged to me, and then they found it in that third quarter. And they're an explosive team. So they got themselves going, and we fell into a little bit of a rut. But that's how a lot of these games go, especially when they're really evenly matched. And we're missing some key guys, and so there's going to be ups and downs that we're going to have to play through. And that's what I'm most proud of with the group right now. During this 5-game winning streak, is just every single game has had these moments where we've had to stick it out, and our guys have done that.
45 minutes for Draymond tonight, 46 for Clay. I think a couple other guys over 40. And they're your healthy guys right now. Like, where's your, I guess, concern level about that type of load wearing on some of your guys?
I mean, there's a reason I gave the guys the weekend off. No practice the last 2 days. Tomorrow will be a get what you need day. So all the guys who played 40 plus minutes will be off their feet. The performance staff will let me know if they're worried about anybody. But we just got to get through this stretch and, get some bodies back soon and take some of the pressure off of these guys.
Jordan's shot wasn't going down, but given the circumstance, do you almost admire a guy keep taking shots, 31 shots, because it's just the way the game has to go?
Yeah, I mean, I keep saying this, but what I love about Jordan is that he's got another level to reach, and these games are so great for him to feel what it's like to be Steph. What it's like to have the best defender on you, to have the pressure on you, to have to function, down the stretch where, the game is going to be more physical, and you got to play through all that stuff. So these are all great learning experiences for him. We don't win any of these 5 games without Jordan. We just don't. We desperately need what he's bringing to us. And the great thing is he needs this experience to go through so he can feel what it's like to be the main guy with Steph out and have to elevate his game. Not so much from, a scoring standpoint, but just from, an improvement standpoint, an understanding, an awareness of what needs to happen, playing through stuff, getting us into our offense. And those are all things he's going to improve upon. And like I said, that's exciting to me because he's already a hell of a player and he's going to get better.
Hey, Coach, can you take me through that last time out? You're up to Hawks come in. They might go for a 3. They might go for a 2. You've got defenders on the floor. You discussed, all right, do we not want to give up the 3? Or and then do you talk about what happens if they do score and what you're going to do coming down the other way in this circumstance?
Yeah, so we took Jordan out. We had the 2-point lead. We put our defensive lineup in there. We had a foul to use, I believe, at that time, and so part of the message was, if the clock gets down, and it's if you can, kind of get a foul in to make them take the ball out of bounds, that's a possibility. And no threes and no fouls on the shot. These are all the things that we're, trying to tell them. And then, what's our strategy? Are we going to switch? Are we, before the ball's entered, after, both? These are all the things that are being discussed and decided on. And the final thing is we have no timeouts left. So if they score, we got to push it. And so it's exactly what happened. Draymond did a great job pushing the ball ahead, and Clay got a good look, and then Loon and Lamb were down there fighting, and Loon was able to convert. So, kind of a wild sequence, but the guys did a great job of executing.
All right, so Steve Kerr there, a couple of key takeaways. The point about Jordan Poole, and I think it's especially important on a night where I think some Warrior fans are coming after Jordan Poole. And look, you can't be coming after Jordan Poole right now. People thinking about the turnovers or wanting the spotlight or not playing well down the stretch. Steve Kerr said it, and I'm going to echo it right here. The Warriors are not 5-0 in this homestand if it's not for Jordan Poole playing at a high level and scoring the basketball. Plain and simple, they've needed Jordan Poole. And Jordan Poole, I am guilty of this as much as anybody. He's still a young player, and he's going through this opportunity of having to be a carrier for the Warriors right now with Steph out. And that means teams are really honing in on him, and he's trying to learn how to finish some of these games in crunch time as the lead dog or as the number 2 on a night like tonight to Klay Thompson's 1. And so that is its own process that Jordan Poole has to learn to get through at this point of his career. I make the mistake sometimes of, because the Warriors are so young in other parts of their roster, and because Poole is kind of the bridge player between the championship core veterans and the super young guys, Kuminga and Moody and Wiseman. But I consider Poole, because of his top 6 status, to be a veteran for the most part. But in times where he is asked to do more and asked to go from, let's say, a 6th man up to being the number 1 primary ball handler in addition to Draymond Green, then I think that's where you have to allow yourself for some more mistakes. And the other key part from Steve Kerr is just the up and down nature of all of these games. That should be expected. The up and down nature should be expected. Nobody thought that the Warriors were going to come in down Steph Curry and down Andrew Wiggins, and on some nights down others on this 8-game homestand and just roll like it's the 18-2 team from a year ago with everybody playing at a high level, and the Warriors trying to lost the lights there for those watching on YouTube and Twitch. Lost the lights here inside the conference room inside Chase Center. But the ups and downs, that's the key. Managing those ups and downs and battling through those ups and downs as the Warriors try and fight and scratch and claw their way to a lot of these wins, as they've been able to do, and to not give up in some of these games, to be able to continue to rebound and fight in a lot of these games, I think is pretty key. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. Warriors wrap up here on 95.7 The Game as the Warriors get their 5th win in as many tries on this homestand. Back in action on Wednesday. Warriors and the Pistons to go at it then, and then it'll be the Warriors and the Magic Saturday. Warriors and Suns to close it out. This team's got a great shot at getting to 8-0 on this homestand and getting to the midway point of the year, really making up a lot of ground that they had lost based on the slow start at 3-7, and I've talked about it a lot. You look at the Warriors right now, this season has essentially been 4 different segments. There was the 3-7 segment at the beginning, and then it was 10-4 to get themselves to 13-11, and then there was the 2-7 stretch after that brought them home 15-18, and now this 4th segment of the season gets them to 5-0 and now 20-18 with 3 games to go before the official midpoint of the season. So good stuff from the Warriors there as they continue to try and go undefeated on this homestand. Xfinity Mobile text line, Dante DiVincenzo, underrated, one of the most underrated players in the NBA. I think that's one thing the Warriors have definitely learned on this homestand is the fact that Dante DiVincenzo has an ability to fill some of the void with other players out. When he's the 7th man and that second guard in, at times, he can have nights in 20 minutes where he plays pretty well, but it's almost as if he isn't out there long enough to really make a positive impact in the subtle ways that he's able to do it. But recently, with all of these players out, he's been able to really step in, and being asked to do more, he's been able to answer the bell and do more, defend multiple different players and positions, often the best scorer at the guard spot on the opposition. He's also been asked to fill some of the scoring void on some of these nights, and he's been able to do it. He's a willing passer. He rebounds bigger than his size, and he's just become a real key cog and a player that fits what the Warriors do so well at an extremely high level. And he is, when we look back on this season and where the Warriors are at and trying to find themselves, he's somebody we're going to look back and say, hey, he really helped this team at a critical juncture stabilize themselves. Patrick Baldwin Jr., another one, somebody that hadn't been mentioned on the show to this point, but he had 8 points and knocked down a couple of threes and was unafraid to get out there. The 510, appreciate you checking in with that on the Xfinity mobile text line. And tonight was a night where you knew Baldwin was going to get some run with Jonathan Kuminga out, and the Warriors only had 10. And really it was 9, and Steve Kerr would probably tell you 8 because he doesn't want to get Baldwin and Rollins too much time at this particular point. But for Baldwin, knowing he's going to be out there, to be unafraid to let it rip 6 times in just under 11 minutes and knock down a couple of them. And he had a block shot tonight. His length was on display. And so, a couple of rebounds. I think if Jonathan Kuminga is going to be out and Andrew Wiggins is not going to be available here for another game, that's going to be an opportunity for Patrick Baldwin, because it can't just be Anthony Lamb. It can't just be 8. You can play 9, but it can't just be 8. And, tonight was a night where Ty Jerome didn't make the impact that he had previously. Moses Moody, knocked down a couple of shots, got to the free throw line, kind of an up and down affair for Moses Moody, missed some free throws as well, which were problematic. But, Patrick Baldwin's an interesting player who I wonder if the opportunity is almost forced upon Steve Kerr because of the dwindling potential rotation players that can be put out there. It winds up working out to Baldwin's benefit. But he gets a subtle nod, I think, tonight for sure in his 10 minutes for coming out there and really making a positive imprint on the game as well and helping the Warriors earn this victory. All right, we'll go ahead and call it a night on that note. 1 hour here tonight, commercial free, and now in the dark in the studio here inside Chase Center. We'll end it on that note and reconvene on Wednesday with Warriors Live at 6 o'clock. So a big thanks to Sterling Bennett, everybody in our San Francisco studios, as cutting up the highlights and putting together the post-game sound and everything you hear here on 95.7 The Game. We'll reconvene on Wednesday at 6 o'clock for Warriors Live, as I will be with you right back here from Chase Center, Warriors and the Detroit Pistons for the second of their 2 meetings here on 95.7 The Game. Tip-off just after 7 o'clock as the Warriors try to make it 6 in a row on the home floor and 18-2 overall in this building. So we'll talk to you then as the Warriors get the job done tonight. They win it 143-141 in 2 overtimes, and you heard it right here in your home for Golden State Warriors basketball, 95.7 The Game. We'll talk to you Wednesday.
Hey, guys, this is Keenan Thompson. I have a problem with you. Yes, you. None of y'all told me that AutoTrader has millions of new and used cars that I can shop from home. I thought we were friends. I put smiles on your face, but I'm not smiling. No one told me that with AutoTrader, a dealer can deliver cars to my home or that I could shop by price on AutoTrader. No one. Consider this friendship that you just learned we had officially over. Finally, it's easy. AutoTrader.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, There are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Attend the largest sale of the year, the Mega RV Show and Sale at Cordelia RV Center, January 6th through the 16th. 10 plus acres of new and used RVs. Receive a $1,000 gas credit on all 2022 models. Cordelia RV Center in Fairfield. Free parking and admission.
Does your heart long to wander? To encounter colorful creatures from the deep blue sea? And amazing animals from the Amazon and beyond? Feed your wild heart. Travel the world right here in San Francisco. Make your